The thing about stablecoins that is interesting is that it doesn't create more inflation. It just creates demand for treasuries. You're not creating dollars when you're creating dollar stablecoins. And dollar stablecoins are primarily, back to your point, by US treasuries. And every time they use a stablecoin, it's created. And then that created stablecoin gives more energy to back the treasury market. So the ironic part about the whole stablecoin market is all the people who are using them within the ecosystem, probably 0.1% really understand that they're actually supporting the legacy system they're trying to get out of. And it is an interesting thing, but it doesn't provide the same type of organic demand for the treasuries. It's kind of a backdoor demand. And that might be why you're seeing such a willingness by this administration to embrace, if you will, stablecoins and allow the proliferation of things like Bitcoin, and talking about it the way that they do in a very positive light. Even Senator Lummis from Wyoming, who advocates for revaluing gold, believe it or not.
In order to buy Bitcoin.
In order to buy Bitcoin. But so what? She said only a portion of that revaluation would go to buy Bitcoin. But look, you know, we can debate the merits of Bitcoin or gold.
And we will.
And I just would simply say central banks are buying gold and putting it on their balance sheets. And with the rise of quantum computing, holding Bitcoin may or may not be the way for a sovereign government to hold its wealth. Holding gold in a vault outside the matrix seems a little bit safer. But it doesn't mean it couldn't be part of a sovereign wealth fund. And I'm okay with that. The point I'm getting at is though that, you know, to me, the perfect vehicle for it, and what we're seeing by the actions of the world, would say that this would be gold. Gold is 6,000 years old. The central banks agree on gold. They don't agree on Bitcoin. The rise of quantum computing, all you got to do is Google the Google Willow chip. You know, you and I had dinner with a man not too long ago, and we talked about quantum computing, and you saw what he said. He said he was scared by it. And this is a guy that knows exactly what crypto is. He's a crypto, what do you call him, influencer, and a very good one. And Google Willow chip will do in 10 minutes what the fastest supercomputers in the world right now will do in 10 septillion years. Now, I didn't know what septillion was. It's 10, I think, to the 21st power. And it does it in 10 seconds. So, or in 10 minutes. So that's the Google Willow chip. Now, China just came out and said they have a chip that's even faster than the Willow chip. When you start to get to that level of quantum computing, is anything really safe? I don't know. And maybe that's the benefit of having this kind of stuff in a vault, old school, if you will. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be ways to use quantum computing to make the Bitcoin safe. Maybe there is. I'm not the right guy. I've said for years that these two communities are far stronger, not only their portfolios, but their argument, if they embrace both sides, or in this case, all three sides of the coin, the front, the back, and the middle, the ridge. And there's somewhere in between. To your point, why not go down the ridge instead of one or the other? The mutual exclusivity is stupid, in my opinion, because if you never listen to someone else's viewpoint, you never learn, ever. And you're right when you say that we see the world very similarly. If it's a door of a house we walk in, we all walk in the same door, maybe for the same reason. We see the problems monetarily, fiscally, geopolitically, politically, morally, socially. We see it, so we go in that door. Now, the Bitcoin people seem to go this way to make a profit, and the gold people go this way to preserve. But why not find a marriage between the one that makes all the money and the one that saves all the money? Geez, your portfolio is a whole hell of a lot stronger, and your argument is stronger, and your knowledge base is stronger. So maybe, just maybe, they will do something along those lines. But what we see so far doesn't support that. It supports the fact that they understand it, and there's accumulation, and it could take a part in a sovereign wealth fund or in a strategic fund. But as it is right now, every central bank in the world's been buying gold. You cannot say that about Bitcoin. And in a world where quantum computing is accelerating and AI is accelerating so fast, what would you rather have if your life depended on it? $1 billion of gold in a vault or $1 billion on Bitcoin? Some people who we respect a lot may say we'd rather have the Bitcoin. Some people would say, I don't want anything to do with that digital matrix. I'm out. I want it right there where I can touch it and see it. So, you know, I think sometimes even the old school things There's reason that they've lasted the test of time. It doesn't mean we should ignore the new kid on the block. We shouldn't. But I think for this particular facet, to me, gold fits the bill maybe slightly better than anything, including Bitcoin, which might be a close second. But I think that the rest of the world's central banks don't quite agree with that yet. There's a whole community that I've been talking to for the last 35 years that should probably learn a little bit more about Bitcoin. And that's why I've enjoyed my conversations with you, with Mark Moss, with Natalie Brunell, with a lot of the Bitcoin people. And there's a whole community on that side of the table that should understand a little bit better what gold has to offer, so that you are not putting all of your eggs just in one basket. And that's really what I hope we bring for where we are right now, at least where we are right now. The system is pointing towards gold, and they're pointing towards Bitcoin as an asset that can strengthen the balance sheet, but I don't think they have it as an asset backing the balance sheet. And I don't know what would derail it. I certainly am not prepared mentally to even try and contemplate that, because I think about this nonstop. And to me, gold is the perfect answer. It's the perfect answer to back the Treasury that allows us the ability to have low borrowing costs, have confidence in the Treasury, and a confidence that is seen across the globe all the way up to the central banks, and at the same time allows us to work down our debt and maybe, just maybe, bring our manufacturing back and reshore the ability to grow our way out of this. And I think that's, in my mind, the best option. But I do want to say that this isn't an either-or situation. It isn't. And I think there's room for Bitcoin on our balance sheet, just not backing the balance sheet. To me, that is best served for gold, and the central banks seem to be showing that. They'd all benefit. They've been buying gold hand over fist, every one of them, and they all own it, so it would benefit all of them. I think it would benefit our foes every bit as much as it would benefit us. That might be a drawback to it, but it's either that or blowing up the entire system and forcing a reset upon the United States. The interesting thing about that whole idea of a reset, by the way, of the $200+ trillion that we owe, only about $7 trillion is to the rest of the world. It's all owed to us: Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, the pensions, and all of the Treasury issuance that's been bought over the last several years. Much of it has been by Americans chasing yield. So in essence, we'd be resetting on ourselves. So look, the bottom line is simply this: I don't see a better path out. I don't think this is a debate upon what is the best solution, other than to say gold has been proven for all of eternity to be immutable wealth that everyone throughout all of time has agreed upon as a rock of stability. And here we are 6,000 years after it was mentioned 400 times in the Bible, and the most well-informed traders in the world can't stop accumulating it, and maybe even more an indictment of the system, repatriating it, removing any and all counterparty risk. It seems to be the path and the playbook they've chosen. I don't seem to see any reason why we should deviate from that, which I think is pretty well thought out. Well, look, we live in a world of inevitability and of probability. There are no absolutes and guarantees. So whether it be derailing or trying to find a time, I would choose a probability pathway that seems to make sense, according to our friend Occam. That's my belief. But I will agree with you. The timing is the difficult part, and maybe we'll get lucky. Right. But maybe we'll be prepared and be early. I'd rather do that than be 10 seconds late when this changes. We need someone to address the problem instead of kicking the can down the road further and further and further. 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,688 years ago. We have a 200 trillion in debt. That might even be before the Earth was formed in seconds ago. It's too big of a problem to not address. Either you continue to kick it down the road until everyone just says we're done with this is the bricks, or you address it and try to get in front of it and give yourself a fighting chance to remedy the problem by allowing you to bring back your manufacturing and grow your way out. Because as it is right now, with 60% of the country not being college educated, if you don't do this, we're in trouble. And our children and our grandchildren are in bigger trouble. The gold and are negotiating. He who has the gold makes the rules. I mean, really? What's that all about? And when his son comes out and says, my dad's going to revalue the price of gold, I don't know. I mean, here again, crumb, 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 connect the dots, take a leap of faith and say what you believe. That's my motto. And that's what I'm doing. Now, I may be wrong, but all I can simply say is this, that gold is taking on a far different role than anything I've ever seen before, and it is becoming very obviously important to very, very, very wealthy, sophisticated, high up people in this country. But it's been that way around the globe for the last several years. We're just catching on a little bit later, and maybe that's why they have to be so quiet, because we're running out of runway. And if they are planning on doing something next July 4th, they have less than a year to accomplish all this. We're getting close. So yeah, keep your mouth shut, bring as much in as you can, drop a few crumbs, let people know, but don't be forthright about what you're doing. Well, you just need to convert your dollars into gold the way that the smart people do and let your gold appreciate for you. That's exactly what this is all about. It is, it is. And the way gold has been performing the last couple of years, that would be a smart idea regardless.